Welcome back. We're now joined by two influential voices in Southern Africa's fashion industry, here to discuss how to make Namibian and SADC designer brands more accessible across regional markets. First up, we have Munana, who is the founder of fashion brand Zuriel, as well as Chishimba Nyambe from Zambia, who is the co-founder of Girl Media. Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
First of all, why are you guys both dressed in black? I'm also, but I mean, I've got a bit of white here.
Well, it was a coincidence.
It was such a
I
coincidence.
didn't see her all
But if anything
day. So.
speaks to it, I think in our fashion industry, we say what? If in doubt, wear black?
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
And in television, if you want to look slimmer, wear black.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's such a safe color. You can never go wrong.
Never
Yeah,
go wrong.
indeed.
Yeah.
But just starting off, I want to, hear about your perspectives on the current state of fashion, or the fashion industry rather, in Southern Africa, and the biggest obstacles that there are for local brands, in terms of expanding regionally. I'll have Chichi go first.
Yeah, that is such an important question and discussion. I'm so glad it's come up because the whole idea behind regional fashion weeks is to connect fashion talent and also just make it aware to the world that African fashion and African talent is ready for export. I think there's no better time than now to really take African fashion to the world and to the globe. And events like the Windhoek Fashion Week, or like we have in Zambia, the Lusaka July, it's just such an important connection factor in leveraging African fashion and readying it, if I can put it that way, for retail. And not just continental retail, but international retail. I think consumers globally are ready to take on African fashion. I think we've seen a lot of trends come up that are likening themselves to the African consumer talent, or rather the African consumer taste. So it's a really important conversation and a really important venture for us as African entrepreneurs in fashion to really jump into it and say, hey, we're Africa, we're talented, our fashion is great, and it's ready for the world.
Yeah. Louis, how would you describe Namibia's fashion identity? I know you've got your own fashion brand, Zuriel. It's been your baby for many years. But I've also, if you're watching from the outside in, you've seen how Zuriel has expanded as well.
Yeah.
But, an overall view of Namibia's fashion industry. Talk to us about how you would describe our fashion identity.
Well, so when we started the MTC Windhoek Fashion Week, which was 9 years ago, this being the 9th edition, I would say the fashion industry, thank you. I would say that the Namibian fashion industry was in its infancy stage. So now I would graduate it to say that we are currently in our adolescence stage. So past that, we are about to enter our teenage phase because we've matured so much. People are more open to, like when you say fashion, they understand. When you say fashion week, they now have an idea of its importance and what it entails. And people are more liberal, they are more open, they are more expressive when it comes to their fashions. Whereas in the past, we were held back. We were like, oh my gosh, this is not for us. We'll stick to what's safe and to what we know. But we have evolved. We've grown as a fashion industry. We have eyes also on us, over the past couple of years. There's a thing called, there's fashion in Namibia, whereas in the past it was, Namibia, what's Namibia known for, and so forth. So now there's a thing, okay, I know one or two designers, like people are really doing well. Our designers are dressing big celebrities outside of Namibia. We are bringing big names into Namibia. We are exporting, we are on TV, So I'd say we're in our teenage phase, actually. Yes.
You mentioned earlier, Chichi, of course, the conversation about helping local brands, expand regionally is an important one. And there's many elements to it, in terms of making it happen and making it a possibility. Production costs being one of them. And this can be a challenge for some designers. From a PR angle, Chichi, what approaches can help regional brands, convey their value to customers who are unfamiliar with them?
I like that you bring up that because I don't think a lot of us look into the pre-production phase of fashion. It goes as far back as resources. So I know for sure in Zambia we have a challenge of material, as simple as it may be. So if you want to renovate your house or you want to get new curtains or like carpets, you find that material easily, funny enough. Your leathers and all of that. But when it comes to the fashion industry, you have a lot of Zambian designers having to fly into South Africa or even Namibia or even Congo, DRC, for material to bring their creativity or their ideas to life. So I spoke earlier about the importance of connection. And, you know, as PR professionals, we lean on events like Windhoek Fashion Week because that's really where the conversation starts. PR is about conversation. It's about mutual beneficial relationships. It's about connecting with each other. We really need to stop ignoring, we need to start ignoring the borders of fashion. I think the borders in fashion are just so unnecessary. It's about connecting. It's about having an idea in Botswana and getting your material in Zambia or Namibia, or seeking modeling talent in another country because you think that that's where you get the best platform to relay your idea or your creativity. I think it's important that you ask about the production of the fashion before it gets into retail. You know, what are the steps and what are the necessary conversations that are happening behind the scenes, our policies. I think Louise and our counterparts in Zimbabwe and in Botswana have been trying to connect and create, you know, mutual agendas to see how our governments can help us collaborate easily. You know, import taxes. I know musicians in my country have that. They've all united and have had really great policies that allow them to collaborate in a cost-effective way. So if you're a designer in Namibia, how easy is it for you to get your resources from Zambia, vice versa, and your finished product to another country? So it all starts from conversation, and PR is very much about that. It's about connecting, it's about corporates and government institutions promoting and collaborating with, you know, talents like Louise and his team to make Windhoek Fashion Week, to make Lusaka July, platforms that harbor these conversations, to make it easier for African designers and African talent to commercialize our fashion for the world and prepare it for the world. Charity starts at home.
Exactly.
We have to get it right at home.
And of course, I think in 2024, adding onto everything you've said, you know, being digitally visible is also another important aspect for any industry, and fashion is not excluded from that. Louis, how do you think online platforms, you know, could support Namibian designers in overcoming retail barriers?
Well, COVID, yeah. Sorry to bring up COVID. I know we're still traumatized by that. It showed us that you need to be online, whether you like it or not. You can be online, you grow online, you can be seen online. So in terms of using your online platform, I've been reached out. People have reached out to me saying, can you buy this? I'm selling this material, I'm bringing that. I can import it into Namibia at no cost. There's a warehouse there, you'll pick it up from there. So people are reaching out, you know. You don't have to do the work of going to seek them out anymore. For as long as you present yourself in a manner that can attract them to say that, okay, my brand is like this, my brand does this and does that, they come to you. So it's the same like big fashion events. So if the talent is there, they look for you, they seek you out, and then they make sure that you're well accommodated. So, and that goes beyond material. It also goes to towards your clientele. People seek you out and say, actually, I've seen this garment you made and I want something similar for my big day or for this event that I have. What's the possibility of you doing it? And then they send you measurements, you create the garment and you send it. Like, you don't even have to meet anymore. Right. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. This is because there's a digital platform in existence. Yeah.
Lastly, you both work closely with designers. What advice would you have, Chichi, for young, ambitious or emerging talent eager to make their mark in the Southern African fashion market?
I think for sure, establishing your identity. The fashion industry in Africa is, I like what Louise said about us being in our teenage years. I feel the same as well about African fashion in Zambia. And I keep saying African fashion because I really want us to start ignoring the borders. It's about the African fashion, not Zambian, not Namibian, not Swana, not South African. It's about our identity as a continent. Because European fashion, I think, is grouped. Yeah. You know, I think if you're wearing 3-4 European designers, people spot them without any conflict. you know, and I think African fashion needs to follow into that path. I think if you're coming up as a young designer, have an identity. It's amazing to see the dynamic at the Windhoek Fashion Week, because I know there's Swana designers, Zimbabwean, Zambian, Angolan, Mozambique, and that's quite huge. But everyone has a unique identity, and you spot it. And then once you get that identity, it becomes very important to tell your story.
Yes.
Every creative has a story of why they started and what they want the world to see. It becomes very easy to relay your identity once you have a unique story. And then, like Louise is saying, exploit the mechanisms we have in place.
Right.
You know, digital PR and digital platforms have given us that exact thing that I'm saying of ignoring the borders. People see you. We are in Namibia right now, but my Zambian counterparts are like, oh my goodness, we can't wait to see what's happening. How's Louise doing? What's going on? And it's amazing. And that's what I love about this. So anyone who's upcoming in the fashion industry, it's just those things: identity, connecting with other like-minded creatives, and not just fashion designers.
Yeah.
It's models. It's corporates that have an interest in artistry and culture and all of that. So it's a bigger picture. And once you're married to it, amazing things happen.
Louis, unfortunately, we're out of time, but briefly, your advice.
Never stop dreaming, and don't be fooled into thinking it's easy. Nothing was built overnight. You are going to struggle, but keep pushing, because eventually something is going to give. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It was lovely seeing you guys and speaking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
On that note, we also then wrap up today's edition of the Daily Roundup with Nina. We're back, of course, Monday.